great work over this past year. And, not to put you on the spot or anything, we've obviously had some conversations before when you just come over, but maybe you can share some of the things that you've done. I know there's a lot of newer agents and people who are just starting in this business, and maybe some people who are restarting. Maybe you can share a couple things that you've done this year that differentiated from previous years.
So,
If you don't
no,
mind.
not at all. I'll do it short,
Yeah.
which is hard for me, but so because I like to talk. But yeah, the first year I was at EXP, I kind of just didn't know where I was at, and then last year, like I said, I went to the Brent Gove, and that just fired me up in Las Vegas. And then I reached out to you and said, "Hey, I need some fire underneath me," and you kind of walked me through some steps. And then this year, just the difference I've done is just been more out there and not afraid to talk about being an agent. I think for a while I was like, oh, I don't want to push myself on friends or, be, out there with my church friends and, because I felt like, oh, that's wrong. But then I started realizing, no, that's my business. I have to grow my business. And the only way I can do that is by being out there more. So I did a lot of social media. I listened to you on every meeting we had. And so whenever you told us to, do a video, I was out there doing videos. I was just out on social media a lot more this year about who I am and what I do for a living. Did some personal video I had hired a professional to do a video for me. And so that's been about it. I've just been realizing that if I want to succeed then I need to let people know what I do for a living. Last year, I actually had an avatar that said I'm a secret agent because that's what my husband called me. He says, nobody knows you're an agent. So I had to change that. So I'm no longer the secret agent. People know, and it's the people that have actually reached out for me to list their homes or work with them is due to the fact that I'm out there on social media and talking to everybody about it. Because one friend, the Garden Grove listing that closes tomorrow, I haven't talked to her in years. And just because of my posts on social media, she reached out to me. So,
Well, one of the other things, and then we'll move on. But one of the other things that we talked about a little bit was mindset, and you hit it. But you really had a relaunch party, didn't you? Where you said, "Hey, I know you know me. Maybe you've heard me talk before, but this is what I do." And you had a bunch of people over to your house, I think, right?
Yeah, I did a fundraiser last Christmas with CHP, and we did a big launching party where we did Toys for Tots. And so I had Santa Claus. I had a big party here and just got my name back out there in that area because my heart is always about like the compassion. So that was a great way for me to show who I really am as a real estate agent and as a human. So yeah, it was a great time. Kids came. It unfortunately rained, but and we didn't get the turnout as on foot, but people saw me and saw what I do for a living in a new way.
Love it. I love it.
But yeah, so all your advice was incredible, and I appreciate everything, Sean. You've been a great help and teaching me to be a better agent. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you for the kudos. And talking about that, you had mentioned, you basically last December, Derek, we just talked a little bit about momentum and 2021. So Derek, I'm going to turn it over to you for a minute, and maybe you can just elaborate on our brief conversation.
Yeah, so we were kind of chatting a little bit, right? Because what we're doing today, doesn't pay us for 30, 60, 90 days down the road. We know where the market's at right now. The market is super hot, and we got to stick with that momentum. We don't know how long that's going to last, right? It could be 6 months, could be less, could be more, right? So we don't really know where that's going to be. But a lot of times what we see with folks is that they take their foot off the pedal on the gas towards the holiday season. We have Halloween coming up, Thanksgiving, December, and it's really easy because there's time to be spending with family. I'm not saying not to spend time with your family, but I would say let's focus on making sure you're still doing your activities. That way you can hit 2021, sprinting instead of, crawling and then walking and then running, So that was kind of our focus, is just making sure we're being intentional with, especially where the market is, where pricing is, and how aggressive people are being. Let's continue to keep the foot on the pedal to the metal and keep growing and keep focusing on your business.
Yep, love it. Yeah, ride the momentum, man. I was sharing this with a lender friend of mine yesterday. I'm like, dude, we don't know what's going to happen in the second or third quarter, but we sure as hell know what's going to happen over these next few months. And the market's in most places on fire. So take advantage of it. Get out there, as Kim said. Do something, get some activities going. Get a working group going. There's all kind on meetup.com. You can go there and find some meetup groups to network with, whether that's in Zoom or even some of those groups are meeting in person. But now is the time to plant these activities because they're going to show up later.
And
okay.
I would just say too, Sean, that the people that are in the market during this time, if you think about it, they're like uber serious about buying or selling, right? I know that a lot of the stats will say that sales will slow down. The nice thing though is the folks that are actually working are super serious. They're not going to be wanting to spend time focusing on selling their house or buying a new place during the holiday season. So those are the folks you can focus on, and with the lack of inventory here, it's a great opportunity to get a buyer in or to get the home sold, because it's going to be a benefit on either side because you're competing against less folks. So.
And one more thing I'll share with you guys as you're competing in this market, working with buyers, is right now you got to tell them, you have to share with these buyers really what's happening in the market. I mean, I'm showing a house in Oak Grove and it's mid price range, $450. It's been on the market one day. They've got 15 offers listed at $399. They've got in excess of $450 right now. And that's crazy for our local market. I know some of you Bay Area folks see those kinds of margins as far as list price versus sales price quite often, but for us seeing things go, at 110% of list price versus sales price, it's imperative that the market and that you're advising them properly. Because if you're the one going, well, I think that you'll get it approved at 410, it just shows that you don't really know the market, and it's tough, really very tough to be providing a fiduciary in that respect. So know what's happening in the market. Speaking of that, let's go on and watch our weekly. Hello, Eileen.
Hello.
Backbone. Okay, here we go.
This is your weekly look at the Altos research data that came in over the weekend for the entire U.S. real estate market. This week, we track, as we do each week, every home for sale in the entire country, all the pricing, all the changes in pricing, the supply.
I can't hear.
You see the trends in the U.S. housing market far before it becomes available through the traditional data channels. This week, the median home price in the U.S. stays flat from last week at $350,000. The cohort of newly listed properties, the pricing ticked down to $315,900. That's the blue line on this chart here. This has stayed elevated for so long this year that it's tough to read. So it's a tick down this week, but it's tough to read it as, are we starting the seasonal pullback? Maybe. We would expect this number to pull back each week from here on out and finish the year under 300K, with fewer and fewer new listings coming to market each week until January. But so if this stays elevated like it has, that'd be sort of unprecedented in the data and would seem very bullish for 2021. So the price of the newly listed cohort is definitely a leading indicator for us to keep our eye on through the next few months. Total inventory is now at 549,000 as this October transaction window wraps up. We're still 40% below normal over recent years at the time. So the 2020 theme of record high demand on top of record shortage in supply continues. Expect 1 to 2% reduction in total inventory each week until the second week of January. This is normal seasonal pattern, albeit coming from the record low recent levels. So with 68,000 new listings hitting the market this week, you can see that the hot market is actually pulling some supply out. There are slightly more new listings this week than there have been in recent weeks. And you can see we've been in this normal range for a while. So as I've said before, this seems healthy. Any new supply is going to help the buyers get the homes they want and help some sellers capture some of the massive equity we've built over the last decade. Finally, this week, we are looking at the percent of properties on the market that have been relisted. A relist happens when a home is on the market, and for example, maybe it doesn't ever get any offers, it gets really stale, and the listing expires. Sometimes the seller picks a new agent and then relists the house for sale. Sometimes relisting happens because a deal falls through in contract. Maybe a buyer walks out of the contract or contingencies aren't met. And you can see here that in relistings spike in January as properties get pulled off over the holidays if they haven't sold yet, and then they get relisted in January. You can also see in our pandemic-induced dip for March and April, like nothing was getting relisted at that time. There was stuff getting pulled. And then a spike climbing back up in May when we all realized that buyers were buying. So these properties got relisted in May. So that's the red line here on this chart. You can see how this is a leading indicator for a market downturn, for example. So if we reach a place where deals start failing or where buyers are cooling off, you'll see this relist number climb. So for example, in 2006 in San Jose, when we'd been in this crazy hot subprime market, demand was way artificially high. But in 2006, the market was actually already turning. Those buyers were starting to fail. The deals were coming off. The prices, the sellers weren't getting the prices they were expecting, these elevated prices. And so the relists were happening. They were coming back on, withdrawn, relisted. And in 2006, the relistings percent in San Jose climbed to almost 30%. And that was 2 years before Lehman Brothers blew up, for example. So if you're in the camp who is worried about the state of the American consumer's finances and, for example, bearish on real estate as a result, this relisting percent is a powerful leading indicator to watch. For right now, it's as bullish as all the other data, but we'll keep an eye on this to see if our bull market changes in 2021. So that's the data this week. As always, visit altosresearch.com for the full details and getting the latest data. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to get these videos out.
Okay. What'd you guys hear there that's a little different narrative from what we've heard in previous weeks? Anybody? Well, I'll share with you if nobody wants to jump in.
Sean, I was just going to say, just paying attention. That was a key thing to pay attention to is the relists, right? He talked kind of harped on that a little bit as an indicator. So make sure we're all keeping an eye on that piece. There's other indicators that you're gonna want to watch. But obviously, if we start seeing a bunch of things that are either falling on a contract and more things are being relisted, expireds, that's going to be the indicator that it's coming, right? And we were just chatting about making sure we're keeping the pedal to the metal at the moment, right? But making sure we're also educating ourselves and making sure we're giving the right information to our clients in our sphere of influence.
Correct. And he said there's 68,000 new listings this week, which is a little bit healthier inventory than what we've seen in previous months, actually. Actually, you know, in relation to what you were saying, Derek, quite a few deals have been relisted coming back on the market. I don't know if you guys are seeing that, but I've experienced that myself where these buyers are kind of shopping different homes, and then, you know, we bail, or they bail on us, and now we're back on the market. And I think you'll see that continuing. So those new, while some of the experienced agents around know now is a best specifically representing a seller, reduce all those contingencies to their base number as low as you can go, because the more wiggle room you give that fish to get off the line, the more chances they're going to. So,
Sean, I would say the other thing too is that, you know, we're typically we're getting a bunch of offers, right? So having someone that's the number 2 offer, asking if they're open to being in the backup position, that way you don't have to re-hit the market. You can just move forward with it. We've had a couple that we've had on the buy side where it's actually worked out for us, where they, you know, didn't appraise, and so we negotiated to come down and we take on the transaction, or something was wrong with repairs, something along those lines. So being in backup, and then also when your listings, having them in position already.
and one of the other things I just did actually on 2 of our listings that we put in is we wrote on the counter offer that that the seller would be able to continue to market the property as active in the MLS until full contingency release. And that way we're not missing out on any potential showings. And, you know, you guys know when you put the property pending, bring backup, or active contingent, or whatever that is, agents, for the most part, 80% of agents don't look at those. So leave it on the market until that contingency release comes in, because, you know, there's a high probability as we move along here and this market continues to evolve and change, and you know, that you might fall out. But the other thing that's happening this week is the election. And so you kind of have to skew the numbers and the data and what's happening in relation to how people are feeling emotionally about changing. And if you're watching the market, you know, carefully, the stock market, you know, this morning was a big sell-off, and so we'll just have to see how that pans out over the next week or two to see if we maintain stability, or if it really does take a deep dive. So just a couple you know, conversations around, you know, those characteristics of the financial world. Anybody have anything to add before we move on that they'd like to share about the market, about their local market, things that they're seeing? Appraisals, I know appraisals are very much backed up. I was talking to Matt Ma this morning, and he said, you know, it's like 3 weeks right now for an appraisal in the Bay Area. I don't know if that's what you guys are seeing, but he's seeing a delay in what's happening with the lending arena. I know I've got specifically 2 deals right now going with, one's with Bay Equity and one's with Bank of the West. And both those are 2 weeks overdue because of lending, because of the volume of units that are being transacted right now. And for those of you who may be refinancing or have clients who are refinancing, you'll know that an average refinance right now is taking between 90 to 120 days. So just some market knowledge that I'm passing on to you guys. Anybody have anything as we're chatting that they've seen in the market that they'd like to share this week? It'd be great to hear from some of you.
Hey, this is Shannon.
Hey,
I'm seeing the same thing with the appraisals. Sometimes I'll get lucky and they'll get a cancellation and it's 2 days, but then I have another one that's taking 2-3 extra weeks. Even if they go out and do the walkthrough appraisal, we're still not getting the report, even if it's super basic. So that's definitely holding things up.
Yeah, we had the same thing, Shannon. They had the actual walkthrough was on a Friday. They told us we were good on the number, but we didn't even get the report because they're QCing the appraisals, Sean.
Yeah.
And so it took like an extra 4 days for us to actually get the report in hand. I knew it. I was told it would appraise, but we didn't have the actual report showing it. It took an extra 4 days to even get the report that was done already to be QC'd through their file, and that one was with Chase.
Yeah, I've had some issues too, just around in the Bay with like appraisals taking a lot longer, and then also having the file go back through underwriting before funding and making sure and other conditions have come out. So it's been a little bit of a hassle with that as far as, you know, lenders coming up with conditions last minute. So that's one of the things I've been seeing.
Okay.
And then, Sean, what we've been doing is providing a cleaner offer. You know, typically what we have done in the past is we reduce like inspection contingency, appraisal, loan contingency. Instead of doing that, what we've been doing, if your buyer's been are able to, is we've been paying for the closing costs to write our offer look cleaner, right? It doesn't change too much for the buyer, but it's been helping them get accepted without having to take the offer higher or reducing those time frames.
One of the things that you might think about, you know, and this has gone in my mind as now I'm in the middle of the eye of the hurricane, if you will, on these specific 2 closings that are running behind. But really, we have to think of ourselves as the general contractor, and so keeping a weekly tab or a 2 times a week tab on what's happening with the lender is imperative right now to avoid delays. Some of you may think about using your KV core system, adding the lender in there and putting a simple campaign together for 7 days, you know, from entry, so that the lender is getting an email or a text message from you, you know, twice a week saying, hey, please provide an update, please provide an update. Hopefully the lenders that you're working with or that are working on the flipping of your listings are giving you a weekly update. But if you find that they're not because they're so inundated, man, it's just ping on them time, or else you're going to fall to the bottom of the stack. Just you know.
And then, Sean, at the minimum, I would say just schedule a task for you to follow up, right?
Yeah.
At the minimum.
Yeah, weekly task, you know, team day it out. It's a good time. We talk about having those Tuesday client update days. It's a good time Tuesday morning to take all your deals and dial through them, check with the lender, check with escrow and title, check with the other parties in the morning. And then when you're giving the actual update call in the afternoon, you have all the available information, and it really does look like you're shit hot and you're on top of it, and you know what you're doing. So just a couple of, you know, real simple organic systems that you can follow to stay on track, stay on top of it, and provide customer service to your clients. Remember, the goal from your clients is always to get the referral. So the more times you're reaching out to them, the more times you're giving them information and providing that customer service, the easier it is at the end of the transaction to really ask for the referral and for them to say, hey, you know, Hal, we gave you a 10, man. You're a rock star. You're awesome. So anyway, that's good stuff. Anybody have anything else before we move along? Okay, Derek, we are going to be doing the business planning clinic on November 19th. November 19th. It's a Thursday. It's kind of right between EXPCon and Thanksgiving. And we'll give you some more data as it comes, but we're going to be doing it here in Roseville. Most likely we will we'll be broadcasting it, but we want to see you in person if you're local. We want to, you know, not to coin the term fellowship with you, but that's really what we want to do. So if you can make it here, I'm going to plan on having some kind of an event after. It'll be an all-day event, but we'll have some kind of a dinner or get together after for those of you who aren't super COVID sensitive. You know, we'd love to see you and share some energy with you. So put that in your calendar, and more information to come on that. EXPCon is week after next. If you need some more information on that, please go into Workplace. All the classes have been posted in the Times. There's also guest passes that you can share with your friends and business associates. Remember, it's not just about other agents. If you can bring value to lenders, if you can bring value to people, other business owners, we all talk the same business language. So invite them in if there are a couple classes that you think that, like a database class or a mindset class or an organizational building class. All of those have relevance in outside industry. So don't leave your referral partners out. Invite them in, and it's cool for them to be able to see what we do, how we operate in Virbela, and hell, who knows, they may want to use the system one day, or they may be able to be your biggest advocate when talking to other real estate agents. So, you know, what you do, the activities that you do reverberate and bring ripple waves throughout the marketplace and throughout the people that know you and know your know your referral partners. So that's what I'll share.
And then I was just going to say, on the business planning clinic, if you haven't been to one that Sean and I have been a part of, the idea behind it is you're going to have a plan in place for 2021, and not just for your business, but in your personal life, as well as if you want to grow your organization. But the idea is you actually leave with the documentation, with the game plan to be able to attack 2021, not just like, hey, this is what you need to do. It's going to be this, we're actually going to do the activities and get through the whole process. So
yeah. So would you say it's not like a Tony Robbins, like we're going to pump you up and then send you home?
No.
It's a, like, let's do a workshop right here.
Yeah.
Let's get your plan together. Let's get it in a binder and let's rock 2021. Let's go get our market share in 2021. Cool. Okay. So today, for the next half an hour, we're going to be talking about your marketing binder. Okay. Mine looks like this. You can go online and Google listing and marketing binder, and there's all kinds of companies that make cool, you know, hardcover binders. And here's another sample one, something like this. It's a bigger binder, but so this is what many would call a brag book, but for me, it's where I stick all my marketing material, all the information that I'm coming across, so that I have one single source, one place where if I'm going to a listing, I can just grab this and not have to worry about printing flyers, printing brochures, or documents. Now, we sent out before, I just sent it out, so hopefully most of you got it, a lot of the forms that are in this binder. And I'm just going to go through them and share with you like this. But if you go into your email, you'll be able to pull a lot of these up. And so I'm going to do my best to share with you. So if we open my binder here.
I don't have an answer for that.
Oh,
Is there
well, thanks,
something else
Siri.
I can help with?
So if you open up my binder here, you'll see, you know, on the bottom, I have my cards. That way I never forget my cards. And then I have a bunch of stuff in here. And I'm going to share with you each one of these. Also, if you
know.
I got to turn the series out. She wants to talk. So here is a document that we call corporate care. Okay. Part of the goal for this was, do you remember last week we talked about the pyramid accounts, the account of pyramids? So you got to have some media, excuse me. A medium would tell me like what's going on in my future. Some media about what you plan to do, how you plan to service them corporately. So it says what we do for your employees. What we do for your employees, what we do for you as a human resource person, and then our mission statement and a little bit of bio and stuff about us. And Michael Lewis Marketing Suite has this. So if your goal for 2021 is to start working corporate accounts, get a hold of MS, Michael Lewis Marketing Suite, and get some of these made. All these templates, guys, as somebody who's connected with me, they're available to you. You'll just have to get them customized. I've got in here door hangers that we've done. I've got, for some of you who list in rural places, I've got horseproperties.net, which is a company that we put a lot of our rural properties on so that they can get advertised. You've got copies of postcards. Put this down here. Past postcards. By the way, if you're not using Michael Lewis Marketing Suite to send these out, dude, it's a real big financial money saver. I think we're sending these out, what, for 50 cents?
Yeah.
50 cents, designed, printed, and mailed.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know, for 250, you're paying 125 bucks. That's super cheap in the industry to send these out. So we got postcards, different types of postcards for different properties. We've got, you know, again, another horseproperties.net if we're doing rural properties, like what's entailed when we market with it, what their syndication, who they send it to. For those of you who are going after, okay, under corporate accounts, what do we have next? We have business to business relationships. Here's an example service brochure that we did with a lender, and it's called Divorce in Your Home. If I flip it on the back, guess who's on there? Me and the lender. And we're sending these to divorce attorneys saying, hey, if they can't refinance, then send them to us. And it talks about divorce. It talks about a collaborative divorce and how to sell your property through that. So we have these marketing materials for every situation that we're burning in. Again, Michael Lewis has these. Use the template, call them. If you want to meet more divorce attorneys in 2021, here's media for you to be able to use. And then we burn through here. Can you hand me one of the service brochures, Chrissy?
Let me ask you a quick question.
Go ahead.
When you're dealing with these divorce attorneys, when I have met with them in the past, I've always offered a spiff or something. Do you do that as well? You know,
Spiff.
like well, not a spiff, like, so I'll give them a referral fee. Sorry.
Okay.
Do you typically talk about that with them when you have meetings with them?
Great question. And not on the first meeting, but what I'm trying to find out is what they really need.
Okay.
What do they need from me? You know, when most of the time, here's what they're concerned about. I've got a pissed off wife and an angry husband, and I'm not going to, and most of the time, I'll be honest with you, the attorney gets paid when the house sells. Right? So if you can go in there and say, hey, listen, here are some past testimonials from people who are getting a divorce. Here's a little bit of information about me and my sales skills. And listen, here's why you want somebody like me as an advocate. I've got the best marketing, which means I'm going to get your client the highest price, which means we're going to get, and I've got a network of vendors who will come over and fix the house up and even maybe bill through escrow. And we'll get it done. We'll get the house in perfect condition. We'll have it priced right. We'll have it marketed right so that we can get this sold. They can move on and you can get paid. They'd much rather get the fee on the divorce overall than, you know, maybe a referral fee. Now, if they go that route, then you have the discussion later. But what I've found is that's the typical motivating factor for a divorce attorney.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem.
And then
Somebody
Sean,
else?
I put in the comment section, I put the link to MLMS as marketing toolbar. That way, if you
Yeah.
guys need to know where to go, that's the link to go to get your customized stuff done.
Yeah, and I'm going to touch on that a little bit. And then also, what's Chrissy, can you put Kim's email in the chat?
Yeah.
Chrissy's going to put, so Michael Lewis has this marketing bar, which is great. They'll do the semi-custom designs, but in addition, they have MLMS graphics, and we're going to send to you Kim Tran's direct email. So any of these things that you want to piggyback off of or create for yourself, please feel free to do so. Okay, so in addition, we have our service brochures. This is about us. This is our qualifications here, right? This is my bio. This is the soft sell that we drop off in our pre-list packets. And we ask them, hey, have you had a chance to look through the pre-list packet and determine, you know, where you're at here, buyers and sellers, and the 6 factors of a home sale that we've talked about several times when we chat about listing. And it's just a kind of a sexy piece that we can drop off that we can also give to referral partners to share with their clients. And then Chrissy's also, are we putting the link in Dropbox for this?
I'm sending it right now.
Okay, so Chrissy's going to put the Dropbox link for our listing. These are generic listing consultations and buyer consultations. Many of you guys have seen these before when I've come to your offices or when we've met in private, but they're just nice magazine type booklets that can be handed out to both buyers and sellers. And typically these would be what I would drop off at a pre-list consultation, but also would bring with me to the listing consultation. These can be ordered through overnight prints. And what do they cost us, Chrissy? $3?
They were $4 each.
They're $4. They're $4 a piece. Okay. There's generic ones already designed. You can change it. You can add your information. You can change your logo, whatever. You just change the front page. I think she'll charge you $25 to customize these, and then you can have them make like 50 or 100.
Well, they're in PowerPoint as well.
Oh, they're in PowerPoint as well, Chrissy says. So you can get in there and edit them
I'm sending
yourself.
the generic one and the one that's marketed to you so that you can see it
Purchase
on the website.
and listing booklets. Okay. Now, then, you know, I have a whole stack of past flyers and sales and informations in here that I can, when I'm going to the meeting, I can actually share with them what those look like. We have, if you guys need something like this, and many of you are going, well, I haven't sold that many houses, I don't know. You have to up level it and take it to the team. You have to say, my team has sold. Guys, you realize we're all part of the same team, right? We're all part of the same team. So utilize my success, utilize Rich's success and Hal's and Eileen's and Brian's and Ed's. Get their copies of their previous listings. Come and get mine. You can take mine. Get other if you go buy another EXP agent in your area and there's a brochure, grab one of their brochures and put it in your marketing binder and say, this is what our company has done. So it's you, it's your team, and it's your company. Okay, everybody's on the same team. Anyway, these are just past flyers. Now, I'm gonna share with you then my screen here. Hang on a minute. Share screen, and we're gonna go here. I'm gonna burn through all of these informations, then I'm gonna go back and share with you where you can get them. Okay. So this is in the front of my binder. I'm gonna actually walk you through these first pages here. Okay. This is what it looks like. I've got a little bit of information about EXP. Now I'm working on something with MLMS Graphics that shares with the world what companies we've affiliated with. For instance, Eileen and I have had this conversation before. If we're sitting down at a listing presentation or consultation or with a client who's got who's looking, maybe somebody else is interviewing for Compass, or you put the company in there, would it be an advantage? Would it be interesting if we could say, listen, our company has already partnered with Facebook and Stanford and the US Navy and University of Houston and Amazon. You think that's powerful? We're working on a cover page that shares those companies that we're currently collaborating with. Probably more important for you folks in the Bay Area than us folks on the outside, because I think we get more people are doing business with us, or in the Bay Area, they're doing business. People tend to put brand in front of person. And so obviously when we get that, we'll share it, and that will be the first thing that goes in here. But at any rate, this is just a little bit of information about the company, about EXP and why choose EXP and our history. And, you have to, again, when we were chatting about a few weeks ago about going through the listing presentation, you'll master the listing presentation when you get to the end of the presentation and there's no what?
Question.
There's no objections, right? So you have to stab the white elephant of the room. You have to slay this white elephant in the room. Sometimes in regards to EXP, who's, we're the fastest growing real estate company, but in some of the areas that you guys are doing business with, we have to address this upfront. And I'll show you, I'm going to go and show you where you can get these customized within the Marketing Design Center. So
Sean, to piggyback off that, if you guys and gals are noticing you're getting the same objections over and over in your presentations, well, those are things, why not address those and create some graphics, or just make sure you're addressing those objections before they even become an objection. That way they're already being handled. You don't have to have the conversation. That makes sense. Those are things you need to make an adjustment to in your presentation if you're getting the same one over and over.
Good call. Yep. Okay, so then if we continue going through here, because I want to make sure each appointment is the same, I've got my cover page. I know what's going to be in here for each listing, the service brochure and the market stats and etc. This listing cover page, obviously you have a copy now of this in your email, but it's also in Workplace. We've uploaded this. So this gives you everything that needs to be in your listing presentation. Now, I shared this a few weeks ago too, but this is my marketing addendum. So that if I'm flipping through here, I can go to this page each time. There's my marketing addendum, and I can go through this with the client, which just tells them what my general commission is, what they can expect for the print material and photography, how we're going to advertise on internet and social media, and who's going to be exposed to this property. This is very important because for those people who you're sitting down with, who are very compliant and systematic in their behavioral analysis, this is what they want to see. So I may not go, if I'm dealing with a driver like Derek, I'm not going to go through each one of these, but if I'm dealing with somebody who's very much more systematic, I'm going to go through line item by these and say, this is what you can expect, and you can check these off after they're complete. Next, I'm going to put a copy of my real estate license in there from the DRE. That way they can know, when I'm licensed, where the license is hung, that I'm a broker, etc. And then I'm actually going to show them a copy of my broker's license. Okay. Again, remember when we go back, guys, and we talk about conversational layering, who remembers this? Conversational layering. What's the start of conversational layering? We're not going to move on until somebody tells me the answer. It's that important. It rhymes with osity. Curiosity.
Curiosity?
Oh,
That's right. Okay. So we go with curiosity, and then what comes next?
questions?
Credibility.
Oh.
Everything we're doing at the beginning of this presentation is to create credibility. If I can come in here and say, okay, here's how we're going to operate. Here's the past deals that we've closed. Here's what our postcards look like. Here's what we're going to do for marketing. Here's my copy of my license that shows you, dude, I'm clean as a whistle. I'm a broker and I've been licensed for 16, 17 years almost. Here's my license, local address, boom. Is this creating credibility? Okay, understand everything that I do, there's reasoning behind it. There's a method behind it. So I've created enough curiosity by this point to get in front of them. Now, this portion is to create credibility. After I've gone through the credibility portion of it, what is the next portion? What is the next part of conversational layering?
Needs development.
Yeah, it's going to be solving the problem, right? It's going to be understanding the problem and then solving the problem. Correct. So right now we're not even we're going through this credibility phase. Okay, here's, a copy. Everybody loves to see the Luxury Home magazine. Here's a copy of us in Luxury Home and one of the estates that we sold. And then again, I'm going back and creating credibility. Here's a copy of the Zillow. If you guys have Zillow, you can go to Zillow and add past sales. This is the old one. I gotta, cause I'm ego driven, this is a low number for me. We have to update that. At any rate, then I've added some testimonials in there. Remember when we talked about creating credibility, we used other people and testimonials to do that for us. This is all part of that system. Okay. Now we're going to start talking about a little bit. You can start talking about how many of you guys have heard me say in the past, like, Derek, or Hal or Brian, do you understand what the difference in the markets are and how a buyer's market works and what a seller's market is and what delineates those? Yeah, it's months of inventory. Okay, so what is a buyer's market? What is a seller's market? Here we go. We've got that illustration in here. Instead of us telling them, we can show it. Home prices will appreciate in a seller's market. Home prices will only appreciate with inflation in a neutral market, and home prices will depreciate in a buyer's market. Okay, where are we at right now? How much of inventory do we have right now? This page should open up that conversation for you to have that, to share that education. Next, we're going to go through and we're going to talk, okay, well, let me share with you, Eileen, how buyers search for their home these days. This is out of 2018, but 95% of buyers, 95% were internet, 89% had an agent, only 52% of people, information sources used in the home search. 52% of buyers were using open houses, yard signs, video, newspaper, and what buyers like. Websites, real estate agent, mobile, blah, 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 blah. You can go through each one of these and have a conversation with them that shares with them statistically why your marketing is designed mostly for internet versus, everything else. Next, I'm going to share with them, because of the marketing addendum, I can come back and say, okay, Ryan, you remember when we were talking about us being able to boost properties on social media? Well, let me give you an example of one. Here's this property up in El Dorado Hills. The first day we had almost 2,600 people were reached on this property. That means they clicked it, were exposed to it, saw it, had an impression of it. This is LinkedIn, because I want to share with them we're also doing LinkedIn, and I'm going to keep moving along. So if you see this, my marketing binder, this is exactly what I have in it. There you saw the previous page. This page. So this is going to share with them how many people on LinkedIn looked at it. We had 1 comment, 17 likes. And then here's an expired listing that we had. First day on market. We had it and here's where I'm going to tell the story, right? This was on the market for 6 months before. We came in, did professional photography, cleaned it up. We had it staged, as you can see here. And this property sold in 8 days when the previous agent had it for 6 months. You can see it's because that first day we reached almost 1,100 people. Same thing here. Expired listing, 789 people reached the first day with 54 engagements. This is an illustration that brings credibility to the way that we market. And that's the reason that it's in here. In addition, so remember, this is your brag book. So we've talked before about doing business with referral partners, with corporations, divorce attorneys, I'm going to go back, with corporations, with sellers, with expired listings, with how our online marketing works. Now we're going to keep diving in, and we're going to say, you know what? Also, yeah, of course, we've got a bunch of it's not a lie to say we've got a bunch of C-level, corporate level people moving here to Sacramento. So yeah, we offer exclusive relocation destination services. I've got some testimonies here, but whatever they want, orientation in the neighborhood, introducing them to local bankers, taking them around and touring schools and hospitals and public transportation, if that's important, or what their commute would look like. This is all important. And it would be important also, I mean, this is important for a buyer, but wouldn't it be important for your seller to know that this is the type of business that you're running and that you're out there working with buyers who are relocating here? Of course it would. Of course it would. As we keep going on, here's another one, concierge services. We'll welcome this is more for corporate level, but we'll welcome your employee in style. I'm going to go back and say, don't recreate the wheel. Some of you guys are out there feeling a little overwhelmed at all this information. It's already been created. Kim has it. Kim has designed every piece of this. You just need to get a hold of her and say, I want this document and I want to change my name. I don't even care if you hijack the testimonials. Okay? I'm not above it. And then here's the seller's roadmap. And this shares with them how you're going to walk them through the process of selling a home. Next, we're going to talk to them about, before we get specific, we're going to talk to them just in general. Again, our job is to overcome the objection. We're going to talk to them about how they should think about pricing their house. I think somebody's trying to jump in. Hang on, guys. Okay, sorry. Participants. Oh, there it is. So this is how I shared this pricing triangle, I think a couple weeks ago. But, if you're priced at or below market value, you're going to get between 60 to 90% of the buying public. It's important you understand how to present this to your clients. And then in the back of the binder, I always have extra forms just in case I forget. But this would be an example valuation data form that I could just whip out and start filling in so that it's there and I don't have to worry about printing it out each time. Okay, so, and then that's that information. And then I'm going to stop screen share so I can get bigger, hopefully. Okay. Now, for the rest of it, I've got some of my, the most exceptional properties that I've sold over the days. I can whip these out, but I'm going to let them flip through these so that they can see what I've done, what I've sold, how we market, what the pictures look like, what they can expect as far as their own personal website is concerned. So I'm going to have these conversations. Remember, as you're maneuvering through this book, you're telling stories. You're not showing, but you're sharing with them your past successes. Now, let's just stop for a minute. Based on everything that I've just gone through, if you guys didn't know me, would what I've shared with you gain credibility?
Yes.
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 That's what you're looking for. Your brag book is just about gaining credibility with them. Go back to the conversational layering and think, okay, my prospecting and the way that I communicate and understanding their disc profile is going to get me to curiosity. This is going to get you to credibility, along with, some of the other things that we talked about last week, which was establishing rapport. Okay. So let's go in here now, and I'm going to share with you a couple of places that you can go to get this information.
And Sean, just to repeat, because some people got on the call a little late, if you don't have the track record of selling all those houses like that, you can utilize the team's information, right? So Sean, I talked about that a little earlier. So utilize that to build credibility and what our organization does at a high level.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, if you want to come in, we've got a stack of old, I'm looking at them right here, of old listing brochures and flyers and marketing materials that you could come in and start building your own book with. Okay, so you just have to reach out and say, hey, this is what I want to do. I want to build it. Within EXP Enterprise, you guys can go here to the Marketing Center, and there's a section of the Marketing Center that's called Agent, Agent Attraction. And you can go in there and find the document that I shared with you, but more about if they want to know about the company, about Glenn Sanford. There's a bunch of different marketing materials in here, of which I pulled that this is like an introduction to EXP, but you can manipulate and grab some of these agent attraction flyers core values to put in the front of it. And that's exactly what this document is. Oh, sorry, go back. That's exactly where I found this first document. Okay, right there, agent attraction. There's also some listing and marketing brochures, designs in here that you may be able to use. I haven't found them very useful, to be honest with you, but right here, buyers and listing presentations. In addition, this is where I found the seller's roadmap, and that's in the listing and buying or listing packet, I believe. So you can print that out and kind of have a conversation about how you're going to walk them through the process. So utilize the Design Center. What's cool about them is just with a click, if you filled out your profile, your information automatically populates. So it's not as if you have to go through this big design.
And the listing and buyer presentations are in PowerPoint form, so you can use them as a jumping off.
Listing and yeah. Oh yeah, you're on there. Okay, are you muted? Okay. Did you guys hear that? She said the PowerPoint presentations in the Marketing Center are the listing and buyer consultations or PowerPoint presentations, so you can easily go in and edit them as well. For listings, this is a service that I use. It's called Properties Online. It's where we get all of our single source websites, and it's also got a lead capture in there and a couple of other things that you can utilize. But to be honest with you, that's where we got several of our slides from this, and you can use this too. This is for iPad, this is for PowerPoint. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to share with you, you could add some of this in there, a website about your home, where buyers found their home, information sources that clients use during the home, what internet, all these different slides. And in fact, because this isn't specific, we'll share this with you too, but this is where we got a lot of the information that went into the buyer and seller brochure packets. If you don't have, I think the service costs us $30 a month, and we can have up to 25 single property websites. Utilize this site, man. It's pretty cool for what you can do. So I can go in here. I'll just share. Oh, it may be unlimited, Chrissy's saying.
Now it is. It used to be 25.
It's called Listings Unlimited or Properties Online. It's a little slower because I'm in Zoom right now, but I'll share with you kind of what it looks like.
And then for those of you that are, maybe newer in the business and don't have the marketing budget as of yet, you can utilize your KV Core system to build out single property websites. And there's some training on it if you go onto the learning portal. And that's where you log into your KV Core platform. In the bottom left-hand corner, there's a graduation cap. You click on that. You can search anything you want to do, but you can build out those individual websites super easily. So. Okay,
good to know. Thank you, Derek. And so you just go to new property website. Here's the coming over Dara. You can go in here and edit the site. You can use it for open house and you can put property photos in there. There's a document vault that you can share with your clients and QR codes and property flyers and everything in there. But
You can even do riders with
and
QR
it gives you your own your own domain there, which can be shared easily on Facebook. So this is something I use, and I think like I said, it's pretty cheap. Costs about $30 a month, something like that. Obviously for many of you, if you don't have many of you have a Zillow profile. If you don't, get your butt in there and put your Zillow profile in there. That way you can screenshot this and snap a photo and copy the reviews and the past sales so that you can illustrate that. A couple of other things that you might want to add into here is, oh, they took me off of there, but some of the updated market data from CAR. If you want to change it out every month, CAR updates their data. It'd be a good, I don't put it in there because I get more specific about, you know, when I'm going to the listing. But if you wanted to put something in there just to talk about the general overall market for that month, you can go to CAR and find that data. And then ultimately take advantage. For those of you who haven't, we've been using it, and I'm really happy with the services that they're providing right now, and their turnaround times and the quality, their communication, and their commitment to me as a customer. But Michael Lewis Market, and I don't get any kickbacks or anything from this. I just like their design. You can also use them to help build your own customized brochure. But MLMS Marketing Bar, I know Derek, you put the link in there. What I wanted to share with you again, though, $125 annual membership, and then that includes per listing you get all of these things for $125 delivered to you within 24 hours. It's probably the most reasonably priced, high level and quality marketing materials for a listing that I've seen for $125. And
They even call me afterwards to follow up.
yeah, Chrissy's saying they'll call her and follow up. The brochures are here within, 24 to 48 hours. And they will also do social media posts for you in regards to your listing. So if you don't have an assistant, you need more leverage. That's where, and the reason I'm sharing with this with you is that's where all these designs came from. So that being said, we ran right up to 11:59. I'm going to stop the share. And what questions do you guys have?
Hey,
Who said that?
I'm in a Zoom meeting.
Okay, I think she's talking to somebody else. Any ahas there?
I need to start printing some stuff out, putting together my binder.
Yeah, and here's, just following up on this. This binder is very templated, and isn't really going to change until you get some new listings and shuffle them here and there. But what we want to do is get you to a point where you have this, and it's simply like, I need to print out my CMA and my listing contract and market data and information. I grab the binder and I'm gone. You're not spending 4 hours compiling all this information. And because it's binder and what's coming next and you're flipping, you get comfortable in the presentation, you get comfortable in the storytelling, you get comfortable to a point where it helps you to be a better closer. That's the goal. Okay. Conversational layering, guys. Remember it when you're out there prospecting: curiosity, credibility, find a problem, solve the problem, close the sale. Boom. Anybody got anything else before we wrap up? All right, get to work, guys.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Good stuff, Sean. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye, guys.